Talk about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. Since Bryce Young has returned to the starting lineup when he got benched in favor for Andy Dalton, he has posted 7 passing touchdowns to technically 3 interceptions. The reason why I say technically, one of the interceptions were not on Bryce Young. It was on Xavier Legette. He throws a beautiful dime in the New Orleans Saints game. The cornerback comes out of nowhere, takes the ball from him. It goes for an interception. That's not on Bryce Young. I want to talk about what has happened in the last 5 games with the Carolina Panthers and why the future may be bright. Now, I've come on this channel many a times before and say, hey, the Carolina Panthers are heading to the right direction. And then the next couple weeks, they fall off a cliff. This feels different because for the first time in a very long time, it seems like they have the right head coach with Dave Canales. These guys are competing. For the first half of the season, it was bad. Bryce Young got benched early in the year in favor of Andy Dalton. Their defense was terrible. Their defense is still dealing with a lot of problems. But at the time, Bryce Young did not look good. I look at Bryce Young right now. He's not the reason why they're losing football games. As a matter of fact, he's the reason why they're in these football games to begin with. Bryce Young has shown good athleticism outside the pocket, good poise inside the pocket, and that accuracy that we saw at Alabama has now transferred over to the NFL. His rookie season, the reason why he was bad was because of Frank Reich and because they could not block for him up front. Give this offensive line a lot of credit. This is one of the better offensive lines in the NFL. Forget just the NFC. They've done a great job with rebuilding this offensive line by bringing in those 2 big guards in Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. And Austin Corbett, you can move off of that contract after this season because he can't stay healthy. He got injured this season and also last season. And I look at that center position. I think they're good where they're at right now. But you have Ickey at the left tackle position. This is the best season of his career. This is the best that he has ever looked. He's looked consistently good playing alongside these guards, and give Dave Canales a lot of credit for that also. And Taylor Moton has been Mr. Consistent at the right tackle position. He is getting older, but when I look at his age, it's not that much of a concern. He is still a baller on the field. And when you look at this offensive line, they're able to get a push up front with Chuba Hubbard, one of the best running backs in the NFL. It's very unfortunate because I wanted to go back and fully watch the game that they had Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk about their last 5 games in general. But I just got done watching that game. Chuba Hubbard is a beast. Jonathan Brooks should have not played this season. I don't believe that he was ready to step back on the field. For the ones that don't know, the reason why he missed majority of this season, he tore his ACL in college. That's why he was a 2nd-round pick. This kid could have been a 1st-round pick if he did not tear his ACL. They selected him in the 2nd round. They signed Chuba Hubbard to a long-term extension. Thankfully, he's going to be on this team for the next few years. You look at Jonathan Brooks, tears that ACL yet again, non-contact injury. That's a 6 to 9 month recovery period. And I wish him nothing but the best moving forward. But for a running back to have 2 torn ACLs in back-to-back years, that's not a good sign. Jonathan Brooks has very good potential still, even coming back from 2 torn ACLs, but he may not be the same. ACL injuries are tricky. Look at Javonte Williams with the Denver Broncos. Before he tore that ACL, that kid could fly in the open field. Now he's more so of a battering ram back. When I look at Jonathan Brooks, he was never going to go out there and be the bell cow for the Panthers because you look at Chuba Hubbard right now, my goodness, they could run a dual threat type of system out of the backfield when you have 2 monsters at the running back position. But unfortunately, he's out for the rest of this season. He's going to miss majority of next season also. Let him rest up. Let him fully recover. Chuba Hubbard can handle it on his own. You can get him the football 20, 25 times in the game. Move off of Miles Sanders. He can't stay healthy, and he's just an average running back at best. But when I look at the pieces around Bryce Young, they're very good. The wide receivers with Adam Thielen, he's a very good, consistent wide receiver, even though he is old. He can still go out there and ball. Not only is just Bryce Young balling, he's also balling. And this is a man that has missed some time dealing with a hamstring injury that he suffered against the Las Vegas Raiders. But even before he suffered that injury with the Raiders, this man could get open, and he had a very good game against the Raiders before he had to leave right before halftime. With that being said, I want to talk about Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. Especially Xavier Legette, who everyone knows at this point for his major drops. I want to start off with him. It's the reason why they selected him in the 1st round. They traded into the 1st round to select him. Very good player. I still think he's a very good wide receiver. I may get killed for that in the comment section below. I'm not going to be prisoner of the moment. These drops are ridiculous. This is a man that can do everything else on a consistent basis. Very good route runner, going deep down the field. Can be tough in contested catches situations. But when the ball is right there and Bryce Young's delivering it on a dime, like how he did against the Philadelphia Eagles, how he did against the New Orleans Saints, how he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. You have to catch the football. And I'm tired of hearing him come out in the press conference saying, you know what, I have to be better. We understand that. Just go on the field and be better and concentrate. He's having major drops. If it happens in the first quarter, if it's on first down, I understand it. But in the second half of the game, these are crucial drops. And it's so frustrating because he can get open. Cornerbacks can't pin him. They can't stack on top of him because he's so big and he's so strong and he's so electric. Because of the speed that he has. That's why a lot of analysts were comparing him to DK Metcalf. But that drop against the Philadelphia Eagles, that basically lost him the game. And I know we could talk about Bryce Young, the interception. If the defense played better, the defense played well enough to put them into that spot, game-winning drive situation, and he drops the football. If he catches that football, they defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. And we're having a different conversation right now about the Carolina Panthers. Same with the Kansas City Chiefs game. If he catches that football, if they score more points in the first half. But it's a learning experience. Just like how Bryce Young had to learn when he got benched, the same thing with Xavier Legette. And I'm not saying bench Xavier Legette. I'm not calling him a horrible wide receiver. I'm just giving him criticism for his drops. He has to be better because he's going to be a consistent target moving forward. They want him to be the #1 wide receiver moving forward, and he should be. He's not ready for that spot right now. He's too young, but this is a man. If he can just tone down with the drops and he can go out there and he can catch the football, I think that they would have something special with him and also with Jalen Coker. And speaking of Jalen Coker, he's missed the last 2 games dealing with a quad injury. Very good wide receiver. He's also dealing with drops. I don't know what they're doing in practice, but just go out there and work on catching the football. They can get open. They can run the routes the right way. Dave Canales is scheming them open. But besides Adam Thielen, they don't have a consistent ball catcher on this team. Because when I look at Xavier Legette, he comes up with big plays, but in crucial moments, he drops the football. JT Sanders right now is also dealing with an injury at the tight end spot, but Tommy Tremble has stepped in. He's looked solid at that position. JT Sanders, there's something special with him coming outside of Texas. I hate that he got flipped on top of his head against the Kansas City Chiefs. That was a game that basically had everyone scared at the time, but he's expected to be okay long term, and that's a great thing. But when I look at Bryce Young, the poise inside the pocket, moving outside the pocket, using the athleticism, the man is dancing on the sideline when he scores a touchdown against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was just a player a month ago against the Los Angeles Chargers. Looked like he was in distress when he threw an interception in that matchup. The body language is different. Going out there and hyping up the crowd, this is what you want to see. He doesn't have to go out there and have the same attitude as Odell Beckham Jr. or a Cam Newton, but he has confidence. You can just tell on the film and the way down that he trusts himself. And the reason why he trusts himself more in this situation is because of the offensive line. He now trusts in the offensive line. He can step up inside the pocket. Why was he so great at Alabama? Because the offensive line gave him enough time. Like the offensive line is doing right now. He could step up into pressure. And how he did against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was stepping up right into the face of Chris Jones, taking the hit, doesn't care, and delivering the football on a dime to guys deep down the field like Adam Thielen. I like what the Carolina Panthers have done. And now I want to get into the situations of them losing 1-score games. Their last 3 games, they've lost by 1 score. Their last 5 games have been dictated by 1 score. They defeated the New Orleans Saints by 1 point. Very good win because that's a division rival. In overtime against the New York Giants overseas, I understand that Tracy Jr. fumbled the football for the Giants and they kicked the field goal. Win is a win. They won that game, and the defense played well enough in the second half. They also had an interception. I'm talking about Josie Jewell here. Then the next week, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 30-27. That was the best game of Bryce Young's career up to this point. I know last season he had a great game against the Green Bay Packers. That matchup against the Chiefs to go out there and try to outduel Patrick Mahomes, that's impressive. And it wasn't like the Kansas City Chiefs defense was terrible the entire day. They're playing press man coverage, and Bryce Young is putting the ball into tight windows like how he did to Xavier Legette and to JT Sanders. The kid can ball outside the pocket. So when I look at this situation right here, you're still learning how to win. When you hear analysts and coaches say the team doesn't know how to win, they have to be taught how to win, that's what they mean. They lost this game by 3 points. And a lot of teams have lost to the Kansas City Chiefs this season by a field goal. The Chargers just did. The Baltimore Ravens, first game of the season, they lost to them in close fashion. There's no shame in losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's special to the Carolina Panthers. And I understand moral victories don't get you paid. But look at the Detroit Lions. They had a lot of quote-unquote moral victories in the first year with Dan Campbell. Now look at them. They're a perennial Super Bowl contender in this conference. And I'm not saying moving forward, the Carolina Panthers are going to go out there next season, they're going to be a Super Bowl contender. But they're heading to the right direction with this coaching staff, with Dave Canales, because he's been around the NFL working very closely with Baker Mayfield, who helped transform his career, and the same with Russell Wilson. So he's been in this situation before. But it just comes down to the small plays, from drops to the defense not sealing the edge. And this defense has been terrible all season long due to injuries, but also due to dumb play calls by Coach EJ, even though the defense has looked better over the last few weeks. Not saying much. But the defense, when they're fully healthy, with DJ Wonnum and Jadeveon Clowney, they can at least put a little more pressure on the quarterback. So you lost to the KC Chiefs by 3 points. There's no such thing as a good loss, but Bryce Young looked good on the day, and everyone else stepped up around him. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this was annoying. Eddie misses not one, but 2 field goals. Close field goals. I understand if it's 56 yards, 60 yards out. Those are tough field goals to make. Eddie is usually automatic, and he missed 2 field goals in that matchup, and it was a touchdown call back on Adam Thielen. That's 3 chances. And don't forget that Chuba Hubbard fumbled the football in overtime. And I'm not going to blame Chuba Hubbard for that, because you had 3 chances to win the game before that even happened. So you have 4 opportunities to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You beat yourself. You still lost, but it's some positive takeaway from that game. Bryce Young played very well in that matchup also against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in tough situations. He got them into overtime to begin with. 298 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 0 interceptions. And against the Philadelphia Eagles, I talked about that earlier in the video with Xavier Legette. Game-winning drive situation, he drops the football. He catches that football, they win that game. I understand if you're a Panthers fan, it's frustrating. But let's not forget how bad this team has been since David Tepper has purchased the team. Most Carolina Panther fans were just happy with this team competing on a weekly basis before the season started. Now you really have an answer with Bryce Young for at least next season. You hang on to this kid, you let him develop. You hope that he can continue to develop and play well. I look at the Panthers like this. This is a kid that's in his 2nd year in the NFL. He's learning a brand new system with Dave Canales. He's been through hell this season. He got benched in favor for Andy Dalton, and this was not the best situation to be placed into. This defense has been terrible due to injuries and due to bad defensive play calls, and the defensive talent isn't that good right now. Outside of J.C. Horn and Xavier Woods and Trayvon Wallace, who is starting to look a little bit better, but he's not supposed to be in this situation. It's supposed to be Shaq Thompson. He's been the starting linebacker. And this is 2nd year that he's got injured. I think they're going to cut him after this season. But we'll see. They may move on from him. When I look at this Panthers defense, you building this defense through the NFL draft, through free agency, bring in some more defensive pieces. I don't know if they're going to hang on to Coach EJ, but I'll see. We're all going to wait and see. But when I look at this defense, they've been doing this without Derek Brown for the majority of the season, who has a torn meniscus. You bring him back, he's one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. You bring back DJ Wonnum if he can stay fully healthy. Jadeveon Clowney, you may move off of that contract for a younger edge rusher. You go into the NFL draft, you may draft a guy like Mason Graham. He may be able to go out there and match up alongside Derek Brown and just cause hell in this division to just stop the run game over and over again. This is not a Panthers team that's ready to compete right now. So the fact that they're going out there, even though they're dealing with drops, they're dealing with a lot of things with the defense right now, and they're still in close games. Imagine what this team can look like moving forward if they can just tone down on the drops, if the defense can play better. They should be okay. So if you're a Panthers fan, I understand your frustration with losing football games. I'm never going to come on here and say, hey, that's a good win. I'm not trying to make it sound like even though they lost, that's a great win, but they've shown improvement from last season to this season. This team has not looked this good since Steve Wilks was the interim head coach and Sam Darnold was the starting quarterback. Let's not forget that. The Carolina Panthers have been one of the worst teams in the NFL since David Tepper purchased the organization. And to see them be in this situation right now with Bryce Young playing better, that's all you can really ask for. The wins are eventually going to come. Look at the Detroit Lions. Look at the Los Angeles Rams. It takes time. You're still in a rebuild mode right now. Rome was not built overnight. And I understand some teams go out there in one season, they're a playoff contender, they're a Super Bowl contender. But that's dealing with a lot of luck. I look at this division right now. No offense. If you're a Falcons fan, Buccaneers fan, Saints fan, this is the worst division in the NFL. And it's not going to change next season that much. If the Carolina Panthers can just go out there and take care of business and Bryce Young can continue to develop, because I still have my questions about Bryce Young. Right now, I believe they're scratching the surface with him. He could play better. I do believe that. He can also play worse. We've seen that on the film also. But right now, he's been very good. He's looking like that franchise quarterback that they selected with the first overall pick a year ago. Just tone down on the drops, focus in on that, dumb down the penalties. The Carolina Panthers' future could be bright. Just hang in there. And if you're a Panthers fan, you've been sticking around this team for this long, it's about to get good. You might as well just stay around now. But let me know in the comment section how you feel about the Carolina Panthers and their close losses and their close wins. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.